Hey guys, DM Cubing here, and here's my tutorial on making a magnetic Gans Air speed cube. Hey guys, here's my tutorial on making a magnetic Gans Air speed cube. Now the procedure in this video is going to be a little bit different than what you've seen in my other videos, in the way that we take the cube apart and then also how we place the magnets. More importantly, in this one, the position of the magnet is going to be determined by one single magnet. We'll call it the master magnet. And then what we do is we repeat the position of that master magnet from piece to piece over and over until we've done all the pieces and all the magnets glued into the cube. So it's a different concept, but the reason why we do this is, unlike in our other cubes like the Weilong GTS or the Valk 3, there's not a convenient little spot or location in the cubey piece that the magnet can just kind of nestle in. There's not that little nook that a lot of them have where, you know, it's like the foolproof way of putting a magnet in. So I've given this a lot of thought to kind of make a fail-safe method to present here so that you won't have any failures of gluing it in. This is a pretty time-consuming procedure. You need to allow several hours to do a cube. Trust me, it's worth it in the long run. I've seen videos where people just place the magnets in their position and then just drop a drop of super glue on the side. That doesn't really work. My tests have shown that if you use a break-in tool, for example, on a Weilong GTS that's been glued this way, and you start kind of rough handling the cube, you're going to rattle your magnets loose. You really need to have the adhesive under the magnet. Now, it's up to you whether you want to put it just on the magnet. There is a quick and easy way. You position all your magnets and then you just glue them. I don't do that. I put the glue under the magnet, then I put the magnet over it, and then I put glue again on top of the magnet. This way it seals it in. You make a complete bond from the magnet to the cubey piece plastic, and then that last final drop of glue you kind of put on the side and then move kind of over towards the top of the glue, and that encapsulates it. That seals the magnet onto the cubey piece. A lot of people slam their cubes down on a solving mat when they're finished. All this kind of jarring motion, you need to think about that and keep that in mind, that you want to have your cube as rugged as possible when you're putting magnets in it. Again, if you want to take the shortcut and just place the magnets and then put a drop of glue on it, you're fine. But that's not the method that I present here at all. Mine is for the longevity of the glued-in magnet to never come off. So just keep that in mind. And like I said, the technique involved here is going to be a little bit different in that we're setting up one piece, first of all, that's going to be our master magnet, and then we're going to just kind of pair that with all the other pieces. So we're going to duplicate that first position over and over. So this video is going to be a little bit different. So just follow me, and if you do these instructions, everything's going to be great. If you have any questions, just drop them in the comment section and I will reply to them. Here we go. Here's some things that you'll need. You'll need 48 grade N35 4mm by 2mm neodymium magnets. You'll need a small Phillips screwdriver. You'll need a plastic sticker peeler or similar device for removing cubey piece caps, and you'll need an adhesive. I prefer Gorilla Brand Impact Tough Formula Super Glue. First, remove one edge piece and one corner piece from the cube. You can place your cube aside. We'll get back to it in a minute. What we're doing here is making the master magnet. Now you'll note at the bases of the cubey pieces, they're held in place with a screw, both the corner and the edge piece. So take your small Phillips screwdriver and remove both of these bases from these cubey pieces. You'll note that the edge piece base has two parts, and if you keep the screw in place, it'll hold them together. And you can just place these parts aside and maybe put them in a plastic bag because we won't be needing them for a while. And now with your sticker peeler, we'll just gently work it into the seam where the cap joins the cubey piece and gradually pry up. Here you see me doing an edge piece, and it comes apart in two pieces. And then you gently do the same thing to the corner piece. And the corner piece pulls straight out from its center. And here you see the inside. This is the part where the master magnet will be glued. And then this is the upper part of the cap. Okay, here is our goal. This is the master magnet in a corner piece. And now I'm going to show you how to make it. You'll want to position a magnet both in the edge piece and the corner piece. Here I'm pointing with the little stick here at the magnet inside the edge piece. Now you'll see a little ledge right by its left side. You want to make sure the magnet is below that because there's part of the cap that would interfere with the magnet, or vice versa, the magnet would interfere with the cap if it was above this. So make sure your magnet's positioned below that. And if you look on the other side, we have plenty of room here. So where you place the magnet here permanently will determine the position of all the magnets throughout the cube, and it also establishes the polarity. Now I prefer Gorilla brand super glue, their impact tough formula. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a little drop on the end of our stick. We're going to put it right where the magnet was in the corner piece, a drop there. Then we're going to place the magnet. Now you'll note here as it's lined up with the edge piece how the fronts are perfectly flush with each other. That's important. And here I'm putting an additional drop of glue just to kind of seal the magnet up. You'll note that the QB pieces are perfectly aligned. This is how you want them to make sure that the magnets stay in the right position. So at this point, just set these two on a flat surface and allow the master magnet to dry. It may take a while, but while it's drying is a good time to take the rest of your cube apart and take all the pieces apart. By the time you take all the caps off and disassemble everything and remove the lubrication, your master magnet should be dry. And here's a finished master magnet. And now we're just going to pull a couple of magnets off of our stick of magnets. We're going to place one helper magnet on the outside of the master magnet. And I'll show you, I'll demonstrate here in a minute what this is for, but just leave it on the outside here. We'll pull out an edge piece. And we're going to put a drop of glue on the interior of the edge piece where the next magnet will be glued. And then with the helper magnet in between the edge piece and the corner piece magnet, we'll just kind of drop the next magnet into place. You'll see that it literally, I caught it while it was in flight here. It almost hit the bottom here, and then it just shot right up inside of the edge piece. You might want to use a little stick to make sure that it's perfectly aligned, but usually it goes right into place. And then you want to just put an additional drop of glue on that magnet. Make sure everything's lined up and squared up. And then gently pull the corner piece away from the edge piece, and that helper magnet will stay attached to the edge piece, and that will hold the edge piece magnet, the first one that we're gluing in place. So you just kind of put it off to its side here by itself, and you continue to do all the other edge pieces this way. And here we've done all 12 edge pieces. Now it's time to turn them over. And we're going to glue a new magnet onto the other side, just like we did in the same position, except now it's upside down, but it's still in the lower right orientation. And we're going to use the same helper magnet style, using our master magnet as the guide and placing a helper magnet on the exterior of that to line up the new edge piece magnet that we're gluing in. And here you see me putting an additional drop of glue on top of that. And here's what it looks like. And the same thing, we pull it apart gently, and then the helper magnet stays onto the edge piece. And you place that little guy by itself, and you do 11 more of these until they're completely done. At this point, it's a good idea to let the glue dry for quite a while. It may take an hour or two. Don't be in a rush here. And then when we come back, what we're going to do is we're going to start gluing in corner piece magnets. And here you see the configuration of how we're going to glue them. So we put a little drop of glue on a fresh corner piece here. See that small drop of glue? And here it is lined up with an edge piece. And I put my magnet in position. I'm putting my glue on top of it. And this is the goal that we're looking at here, where we have one corner piece on the left and one corner piece on the right glued in this way. So then we just kind of put those off to the side till we've done 4 little groupings of these. And then about the time that you've done those, hopefully the glue will be set enough, and dried enough that you just kind of rotate them and continue with the second corner piece magnet, as you see in this photograph. And then here's all 4 sets with 2 magnets in each corner piece. Then we add glue again to a corner piece. See how this one has 2 magnets? It's ready for its 3rd magnet. And here are all of the corner pieces glued with their new magnets in it. 3 magnets per corner piece. And they're all kind of held in alignment with the edge pieces in the middle. So this is all the gluing that you'll do here. Now while you're doing this, you may have like a magnet that just kind of flies off into the wrong direction, and it'll land on top of a magnet that you just glued. And it's kind of troublesome because you don't want to move it because you're going to reposition the magnet. I found the best way is just to kind of use a little razor like this and just lift that magnet up. So if you do this, be very careful because that's a razor and it's extremely sharp. And watch, the plastic of the cubey piece. But this way, it's pretty easy because the magnet will stick to the razor and you can just kind of just lift it up. If you try to use your fingers, you're going to usually kind of move the magnet that you just glued. But this will occasionally happen. And here I'm just kind of like drying all of the magnets into place. I place them under this little lamp. It puts out a little bit of heat, so it's kind of accelerating the drying process here. So just let this sit a while too. Don't be in a rush with your glue because this is a one-time shot. You don't want things to move around and have to redo things. So if it takes an hour or two for the glue to, kind of set in so it's not so tacky, we'll take that time. And then once things are dried enough, then it's time to start assembling the pieces. Here you see all my little edge pieces and their bases and their caps. On this particular project, I used an unstickered Gans Air. So I'll just screw the bases back into place. Here are my little edge pieces, and now it's time to work on a corner piece. Here's a corner piece with the magnets in position. See that? You just place the cap on top of that and then put the little shaft with the base in it and then screw down on it. There's the screw in the base. There's my corner pieces. And at this point, everything will stick together. Their magnetic attraction will just hold the cube in a perfect cube shape. See that? Pretty neat, huh? And really, at this point, we're finished. All we really need to do now is just assemble it, make sure you lubricate it, and that's it. And I hope your Gans Air turned out as good as mine. I am completely really overwhelmed with how good mine turned out. I just really like the feeling of it. And one little note here on tension. It's recommended with the GES nut system that you position the nut where the top surface is flat the flat top surface is flush with the end of the axial screw. That works pretty good on a non-magnetic air, but on the magnetic cube, you want to back it out a little bit. I noticed on mine, just backing it out 1.5 turns made it perfect. And really, generally speaking, in most magnetic cubes, if you back out a little bit, back up a little bit on the tensions, it just really makes the cube perform better. The magnets kind of hold it holds tension in the cube anyway, kind of brings it in. So you kind of have to find that balance between the magnetic tension and the spring tension. And on the GAN, what's so great is with these different, the GES nut system is, you can just dial it into whatever tension. So I'm really pleased with mine, and I hope yours turns out equally as well. And thanks for watching this. If you have any questions, just drop them in the comments down there, and I will reply. Talk to you later. Happy cubing.